Hello everyone, we are back again for the podcast. I'm Fionn.
I'm Kate.
I'm Hilda.
And I'm Paolo.
And we are joined today by the lovely Helen Williams, who is giving us a bit of her time. So, just to break the ice with an icebreaker, I would like to know everyone's favourite biscuit and why.
My favourite biscuit would probably be a jammy dodger because they're traditional, they're good. Like the biscuit, unlike most biscuits, like they don't really have like a dry biscuit. Like the biscuit is really good. It's not like drying. And the jam is just like
Jammy.
amazing. The jam is
So jammy.
the biscuit is biscuit and the jam is jammy.
I get it.
I'd say a custard cream, just because I prefer a custard cream over a bourbon. Thank you.
Guys, I'm gonna go with the ginger nut.
Yeah.
What is
It's just ginger biscuits. They go very nice with like a sweet tea.
They do.
I'm a big fan of a ginger nut. What about you, Paolo?
I'll probably say an Oreo because it's like crunchy but then like soft in the middle.
But that's
Does it count?
that's the same as a custard cream and a bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like a circle. So you can like eat it. It's more comfortable while you eat it. You go up
in
in.
your mouth at one time.
Yeah.
All at once. All
Lucy.
at once.
Mine would have to be a custard cream too.
Yeah.
The reason I like them is you can eat them in 3 bits.
Yeah.
So you take them apart,
Yeah.
you eat the first top layer in one go, and then you use your bottom teeth to scrape all the custard cream off and leaves little dents where your teeth were, because I like to see that, it's the artist in me. Then you get all of it off, and then you've got the last bit, the other bit biscuit. So it's in 3 parts.
Yeah.
Oh, it's delish.
Which, controversially, is the only correct way to eat a Jaffa cake, which I know isn't a biscuit, but you should eat it. You should dissect it before it's eaten.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, correct.
I would like crunch off the chocolate first. Then I'd like take off the jelly,
cake.
eat the
And
cake.
then eat the jelly last.
And I used to like have multiple, and then I would like stack the jelly and then eat another one.
Oh,
So
that's
it was really sugary, but it was good.
Okay, so who wants to hit off with our first question for Helen?
come on,
I'll go.
I'm ready.
So, what are your options on students having free school meals?
My thoughts are that I think children should have free school meals. I think that should be part of what's given. However, there are some families, I think controversial now, there are some families that probably could afford to pay for their own children's meals. And I think that children whose families can't afford to pay should absolutely have them. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
But in England and in Wales as well, we've now got universal free school meals so that all children have them, which is great, and that's equity, and that's everybody is getting a decent meal in the day, which is absolutely fine. And I think that, never mind biscuits, but nutrition is so important, and it's really important that everybody has a really good meal during the day when they're trying to learn in school.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of children I've worked with in the past have come to school without having breakfast, and I've made sure that there's always breakfast available for children who want that, because you can't learn when you're hungry.
Yeah.
So having a really good meal in the day is really, really important.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely for like some children, like their meal they get in school is probably their only nutritious meal.
No, it is absolutely, yeah.
Which is super important.
Yeah, it is absolutely super important. And actually the quality of food that's given in schools is really important as well. And that's, yeah, nutrition and sleep and all those basic things is really, really important. And children absolutely need the best food they can get in the day. That's very important, yeah.
So we're all in high school. Hilda, you're 13, yeah, and I was 17, so like we're all ranging between like high school and sixth form. And so I was just wondering if there's anything you've seen that's like an increasing issue for the later years of school, like things that like whether it's within the schools themselves or the young people, like something that you're seeing more and more common.
That's a really good question. I think ambition is something that I love working with young people, and I think young people have so much to give and so much knowledge and so much wealth in so many different ways to bring to society. And I think more and more, as I get older, you have got an awful lot more opportunities, I think, than we may have had. And I think you're talking about what you've done, and you've gone to California, and this amazing, what you're doing here is amazing. So things are changing, and I think that there is opportunities, and I think that schools and education are very much thinking about sort of linking businesses for when students leave school. Not all students will go to university, so there's got to be other things for those other students as well. That's a positive. On the not so positive, I think what worries me is a lot of children, I think probably since COVID, are attending school less than they were before. That's a very complicated issue, and it's not just in Cardiff, but it's a big sort of UK agenda. There is lots of children. Attendance is going down. Well, it's gone down, and we need to bring it back up, because for children to be in school, you're getting the, you're always going to eat. You're always going to have somebody there for you, and you're going to have education that can, change things. So that worries me, that there's a lot of anxious young people out there who are not attending school. That's loads of opportunities on one hand, but it's also reaching those other students as well that need that extra care to make sure that they feel they can access school. That's really important.
What do you think schools could do to make it more like inviting to people who don't attend school?
Oof. Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
That's the hard one. I think that part of my role is inclusion, and inclusion means everybody's included, everybody. And in schools, we have to work with families and children and young people who are, and there's so much support out there for so many people who are struggling not to come to school. There is, but we're not quite got it right yet. And maybe it's about school, maybe it's about the nurture, maybe it's about what people are learning. I've got to yet find that answer is what I've got to find out. We've got to get as many children to school as possible. What do you think?
I don't know.
What could education, how could education be changed
I
to
agree
attract?
with the fact that it's a really difficult thing, because obviously it's everyone's different, and not everyone I don't know, the school systems doesn't work for everyone. So I think there needs to be more support for people, going out, talking to them, and maybe one-to-one sessions in school, or something that can help grow their confidence before actually attending school.
Do you know somebody who doesn't go to school as much?
Yeah, I do. I didn't go to school for 3 years actually. How old was I? I was 9 years old. And for me, it was really difficult to get back into a routine of going to school. But with help from the youth service and talking to teachers and stuff, it's really helped me.
Yeah.
And I think without the youth service there, I probably wouldn't go back into school. And I know not everyone has the youth service or teachers to talk to. So I think giving support to those people who don't have support would be really helpful.
That's brilliant. So, what do we need to do in the local authority in Cardiff? What would you tell me to make sure I told the people I work with? What can we do that's going to make a difference to those people
I think
who struggle to get to school?
Seeing a poster or a social media post about the youth service isn't going to get people involved, and isn't even about schools and stuff. They're going to see it and they're going to forget about it in a few minutes. So I think I don't know, I think there needs to be a better system in place to those people who don't go to school to have I don't know, maybe a support worker or something who's really trying to push them getting back into school.
There is some of that work, a lot of that work goes on, but there are a lot of children who are not going to school enough. So maybe, that's okay. All right, so I need to think about what you're saying and take that back.
I think just to bounce off what you were asking as well, I think that there's a very big perspective to young people that school is purely education.
Yeah.
And like grades and stuff like that. And I think that so after lockdown, like during lockdown, I really disengaged. I mean, like I didn't do a single piece of school for the entirety of lockdown. And coming back, I started to gain the awareness that school isn't just grades. It's about socializing and extracurriculars and life experience. So I think that if we can help more young people understand that like it's not just about your final GCSE grades, there's a whole lot more into it, then a lot more people would be more open-minded to getting more involved with their education.
I think that's right. I mean, somebody asked me earlier how many schools I'd been and had I been to certain schools in Cardiff since I've been here. I have, and I've met some amazing head teachers, and the care that they take to ensure that students are, you know, all of the student is developed and that there's support around. I mean, that's going to differ in different schools. But Curriculum for Wales, for instance, and all that sort of thinking more generally about how people flourish and thrive and whatever else, is really important. But there's still something not quite right. We need to do a little bit more. And so we're going to have to think about that. And that's something I've got to figure out with my colleagues. I couldn't do that on my own. It's too big. But we can figure it out. And we need to talk to more people like yourselves.
I was wondering if you and like your coworkers were like thinking about like a program or like an online thing for people who don't go to school.
Do you know what? That's funny you should say that, because maybe I'm talking out of turn, but I'll say anyway. Have you heard of Open University?
Yeah.
Have you heard of Open University? Well, I just got an email a couple of days ago to see if I'd be interested in something calling Open School, sort of for Wales, and so that for those children who are finding it difficult to go to school, they could get their learning online in a different way. And I was like, yeah, let's talk about that. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah,
It's university type pilot schemes. I thought, well, that sounds interesting. So I think we've got to think differently. But school is about not just your grades and whatever. You know, it's really important to be in school because there's so many other opportunities offered. So we need to try and get that right. But that's across the UK as well. It's not just here.
I was also thinking like maybe the reason why kids don't attend school, because I know lots of people, like a few of my friends don't attend school because like they feel like they have anxiety and they feel like trapped. Like school's like only one thing, like you go to your lessons, then you go home, that's it. And there's like a ton of rules stretched out, and if you just don't do one, then you get in trouble. But I was thinking maybe something to like help that would be like obviously have important rules in place, but maybe be a tiny bit more laid back. Because if it like, for example, like having an after school for just like not putting your blazer on, it's just like a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
So what would you do if you're a head teacher? What would you change?
probably just like more laid back rules. Obviously keep the important ones, like you need to go to your lessons, like lunchtime, break time is important and all that. But also like stuff like a seating plan, like if you just move like one space over, then you shouldn't get yelled at or shouted at, you know? Because that just like it makes someone feel like worse and like little. Like when someone towering over you and just shouting, like, and then it makes you like not want to go to that lesson. You know, like I know like friends that would like, they would tell me, oh, I don't want to like go to science because my teacher like yelled at me last lesson, and like that's sad, you know. So I feel like, you know, like more calm teachers, and like obviously like some kids do take advantage of that, and they were like, oh well, they're not gonna yell at me, so I can like do what I want. Obviously put those like kids, inform them that you can't take advantage of all of that and stuff.
I think it's about, because I've been a head teacher and I've been an executive head teacher of different schools in my previous role. And it's about, for me, it's about the culture of the school and the values of the school, and behaviour has got to come from in here as well, and sort of teaching. You can be relaxed with children, but or young people, excuse me, but they've got to be clear about the boundaries, and they've got to be clear about the rules, and everything else should then sort of fit in with that. But that takes a lot of work, that takes a lot of time. Yeah, but being yelled at is no, I wouldn't like that. I've been yelled at school quite a lot. It was not nice. Not at all. Excuse me.
All right, well, thank you very much, Helen. It's been very lovely speaking to you.
It's been lovely.
All your
Thank
great
you.
answers.
Thank you so much. Whoa, that got heavy.